3 days. That's all it takes to start transforming your life. 3 days to rewire your brain, ignite your potential, and set yourself on a path to extraordinary success. You might be wondering, what could possibly be so powerful that it could change everything in just 72 hours? The answer is simpler than you think, yet more profound than you can imagine. It's your voice. Not the one you use to speak to others, but the one you use to speak to yourself. I want you to pause and listen. Not to me, but to the, constant chatter in your own mind. What's it saying? Is it cheering you on or tearing you down? Is it opening doors to new possibilities or slamming them shut before you even reach for the handle? Most of us go through life unaware of the enormous impact our internal dialogue has on every single aspect of our existence. It's like having a best friend or a worst enemy living rent-free in our heads, influencing every decision, every action, every result we achieve or fail to achieve. But what if I told you that you have the power to fire that negative roommate in your mind and replace them with the most supportive, encouraging, and empowering ally you could ever imagine? What if I told you that by consciously choosing your self-talk for just 3 days, you could begin to reshape your reality in ways that might seem almost magical? This isn't about positive thinking or empty affirmations. This is about harnessing the scientifically proven power of neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire itself based on your thoughts and experiences. It's about leveraging the same techniques used by world-class athletes, successful entrepreneurs, and high achievers in every field to push past their limits and accomplish the seemingly impossible. Over the next hour, I'm going to share with you a step-by-step blueprint for revolutionizing your self-talk. You'll learn how to identify and silence the negative voice that's been holding you back, replace it with empowering internal dialogue, and create new mental habits that will propel you toward your goals with unstoppable momentum. But I want to warn you, this isn't going to be easy. Changing the way you talk to yourself requires courage, commitment, and a willingness to step out of your comfort zone. It means challenging beliefs you've held for years, perhaps even decades. It means being brutally honest with yourself about the ways you've been self-sabotaging your own success. However, if you're willing to take this journey with me, if you're ready to commit to 3 days of radical self-talk transformation, I promise you this. The person you'll be at the end of those 72 hours will be stronger, more confident, and better equipped to tackle life's challenges than you ever thought possible. So, are you ready to unlock the extraordinary power of your own mind? Are you prepared to unleash your full potential and become the architect of your own destiny? If so, buckle up, because we're about to embark on the most important conversation of your life, the one you have with yourself. Let's begin by understanding the true nature of self-talk and why it holds the key to unlocking your fullest potential. Every single day, you have approximately 60,000 thoughts running through your mind. That's 60,000 opportunities to either build yourself up or tear yourself down. The scary part, for most people, up to 80% of those thoughts are negative. That means that for every positive, empowering thought you have, there are 4 negative ones trying to drag you down. If you had a friend who criticized you 80% of the time, would you keep them around? Of course not. Yet, we allow this negative internal dialogue to continue day after day, year after year, slowly eroding our confidence, our ambition, and our belief in what's possible for our lives. You have the power to change this. You have the ability to take control of your internal dialogue and transform it into a force for good in your life. And it all starts with awareness. For the next 3 days, I want you to become hyper aware of your self-talk. Pay attention to the running commentary in your mind. Notice how you speak to yourself when you make a mistake, when you're faced with a challenge, or when you're contemplating taking a risk. Write it down if you have to. This awareness is the first step in transforming your inner dialogue. Now, once you've become aware of your self-talk patterns, it's time to challenge them. Ask yourself, is this thought really true? Is it helpful? Is it moving me closer to my goals or further away? You'll be surprised at how many of your negative thoughts simply don't stand up to this scrutiny. The next step is to consciously replace these negative thoughts with empowering ones. This doesn't mean lying to yourself or engaging in unrealistic positive thinking. It means choosing thoughts that are both truthful and supportive of your goals and well-being. For example, instead of saying to yourself, I'm not good enough for this job, try, I have unique skills and experiences that make me a valuable candidate. Instead of, I'll never be able to lose weight, say, I'm capable of making healthy choices that support my well-being. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate all negative thoughts. That's not realistic or even desirable. Negative emotions and thoughts can serve a purpose, alerting us to potential dangers or areas where we need to improve. The key is to balance them with positive, empowering thoughts that motivate and inspire us to take action. The human brain is designed to answer questions. When you ask yourself a question, your mind automatically goes to work finding an answer. So, instead of making negative statements, try turning them into empowering questions. For instance, instead of saying, "This is too hard, I can't do it," ask yourself, how can I break this down into manageable steps? Instead of, why do I always fail? Ask, what can I learn from this experience to do better next time? These empowering questions focus your mind on solutions rather than problems. They activate your creativity and problem-solving abilities, opening up new possibilities that you might not have seen before. For the next 3 days, I want you to practice asking yourself empowering questions throughout the day. When you wake up in the morning, ask, what's the most important thing I can do today to move closer to my goals? When faced with a challenge, ask, what opportunity does this present? Before going to bed, ask, what am I grateful for today, and what did I learn? Affirmations are positive statements that you repeat to yourself to reinforce beliefs and behaviors that support your goals. But here's the key. For affirmations to be effective, they need to be believable and emotionally charged. Simply saying, I am rich, when you're struggling financially, isn't likely to have much impact. Your subconscious mind will reject it as false. Instead, try something like, I am capable of creating wealth through my skills and determination. This affirmation acknowledges your current reality while affirming your ability to change it. For the next 3 days, I want you to create and use 3 powerful affirmations that resonate with your goals and values. Repeat them to yourself with conviction, at least 3 times a day, when you wake up, during your lunch break, and before you go to bed. Feel the truth of these statements in your body. Visualize yourself embodying these affirmations. The inner critic, we all have one. That voice in our head that's quick to point out our flaws, magnify our mistakes, and predict our failures. This inner critic often develops as a misguided attempt to protect us from disappointment or motivate us to do better. But more often than not, it holds us back from reaching our full potential. For the next 3 days, I want you to practice silencing your inner critic. When you notice that harsh, judgmental voice piping up, pause. Take a deep breath. Then imagine turning down the volume on that critical voice like you're using a mental remote control. Now, replace that critical voice with a more compassionate, supportive one. Speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend or a child you love. Would you berate a friend for making a mistake? Of course not. You'd offer words of encouragement and support. Extend that same kindness to yourself. Remember, self-compassion isn't self-indulgence. It's not about making excuses or avoiding responsibility. It's about acknowledging that you're human, that mistakes and setbacks are part of the learning process, and that you're worthy of kindness and understanding as you navigate life's challenges. Your mind doesn't distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience. This is why top athletes use visualization techniques to improve their performance. They mentally rehearse their moves, seeing themselves succeeding in vivid detail. For the next 3 days, I want you to spend at least 10 minutes each day visualizing your success. See yourself achieving your goals. Feel the emotions of accomplishment and pride. Hear the congratulations of your loved ones. Make this visualization as detailed and vivid as possible. As you do this, pay attention to your self-talk during these visualizations. Are you encouraging yourself? Are you strategizing and problem solving? This is the kind of internal dialogue you want to cultivate throughout your day. We all have a story we tell ourselves about who we are, where we come from, and what we're capable of. This narrative shapes our beliefs, our actions, and ultimately our results. For many of us, this narrative is filled with limiting beliefs and outdated assumptions. Maybe you've been telling yourself that you're not a math person, or that you're too old to start a new career, or that you're just not cut out for leadership. These stories might have served a purpose at one point, perhaps protecting you from the risk of failure or disappointment. But now they're holding you back from your true potential. For the next 3 days, I want you to consciously rewrite your personal narrative. Identify the limiting beliefs in your current story. Challenge them. Are they really true, or are they just familiar? Then craft a new story that aligns with your goals and values. This new narrative should acknowledge your strengths, your resilience, and your capacity for growth. It should frame challenges as opportunities for learning and setbacks as stepping stones to success. Most importantly, it should position you as the hero of your own story, capable, resourceful, and in control of your destiny. As you craft this new narrative, pay close attention to the language you use. Words have power. They shape our perceptions and influence our actions. Replace phrases like "I have to" with "I choose to." Instead of "I can't" say "I haven't yet." Rather than "I'm afraid," try "I'm excited." These subtle shifts in language can have a profound impact on your mindset and your results. They move you from a position of victimhood to one of empowerment, from passivity to active choice. It's easy to focus on what's wrong in our lives, what we lack or what we haven't achieved yet. But this negative focus only fuels more negative self-talk, creating a vicious cycle of dissatisfaction and self-doubt. Gratitude breaks this cycle. When you consciously focus on what you're grateful for, you shift your attention to the abundance in your life. This doesn't mean ignoring problems or challenges. It means putting them in perspective and acknowledging the good alongside the difficult. For the next 3 days, I want you to start and end each day with a gratitude practice. In the morning, before you get out of bed, think of 3 things you're grateful for. They can be big things like your health or your relationships, or small things like a comfortable bed or a cup of coffee. As you think of each one, really feel the gratitude in your body. At night, before you go to sleep, reflect on 3 good things that happened during the day. They don't have to be major events. Maybe you had a productive meeting, enjoyed a delicious meal, or received a kind word from a friend. Acknowledge these positive moments and the role you played in creating or appreciating them. This gratitude practice will gradually shift your default self-talk from criticism and lack to appreciation and abundance. You'll start to notice more of the good in your life, which in turn will fuel more positive thoughts and actions. In today's social media-driven world, it's all too easy to fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to others. We see carefully curated highlights of other people's lives and achievements, and we use these as a yardstick to measure our own worth. Comparison is the thief of joy. It's also a fundamentally flawed way of evaluating your progress. You're comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. You're measuring your chapter 1 against someone else's chapter 20. For the next 3 days, I want you to catch yourself whenever you start to compare yourself to others. When you notice these thoughts creeping in, pause, take a deep breath, then redirect your focus to your own journey. Ask yourself, am I better today than I was yesterday? I'm moving in the direction of my goals. Remember, the only person you should be competing with is the person you were yesterday. Your path is unique. Your challenges, your strengths, your dreams, they're all uniquely yours. Embrace this uniqueness instead of trying to conform to someone else's definition of success. Many of us get stuck in the past, replaying old mistakes or dwelling on missed opportunities. This backward-looking focus breeds regret, resentment, and self-doubt. It keeps us tethered to old identities and outdated beliefs about what we're capable of. For the next 3 days, I want you to practice future-focused self-talk. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Ask, what can I do now to create the future I want? Instead of saying, I've always been this way, say, I'm becoming the person I want to be. This future-focused self-talk is about possibility and potential. It acknowledges that while you can't change the past, you have enormous power to shape your future. It keeps you oriented towards growth and progress rather than mired in regret or stagnation. Spend some time each day visualizing your ideal future self. See yourself 5 years from now having achieved your most important goals. How do you carry yourself? How do you interact with others? What kind of internal dialogue does this future you have? So talking to yourself today as if you were already that future version of yourself. Embody the confidence, the wisdom, the resilience of that ideal you. This isn't about pretending or faking it. It's about stepping into the identity of the person you're becoming. Remember, your self-talk isn't just a reflection of who you are. It's a tool for becoming who you want to be. Use it wisely and intentionally. Many of us have internalized the belief that we need to be perfect to be worthy of love, success, or happiness. This perfectionism fuels a constant stream of self-criticism and sets us up for perpetual disappointment. For the next 3 days, I want you to practice embracing imperfection. When you notice yourself engaging in perfectionist self-talk, pause, take a deep breath, then replace those perfectionist demands with more realistic, compassionate thoughts. Instead of saying, I have to do this perfectly, try, I'll do my best and learn from the experience. Instead of, I'm a failure if I don't get this right, say making mistakes is part of the learning process. What matters is that I'm making progress. Remember, perfection is an illusion. It's an unattainable standard that only serves to paralyze us with fear and self-doubt. The most successful people in the world aren't perfect, they're persistent. They're willing to try, fail, learn, and try again. When our internal dialogue is disconnected from our core values, we experience inner conflict and dissatisfaction. We might achieve external markers of success, but still feel empty or unfulfilled. For the next 3 days, I want you to reflect on your core values. What matters most to you? Is it family, creativity, personal growth, contribution to society? Once you've identified these values, consciously align your self-talk with them. If you value family, but your self-talk is constantly pushing you to prioritize work over family time, there's a misalignment. If you value creativity, but your inner voice is always urging you to play it safe and stick to the conventional path, there's a disconnect. Start talking to yourself in a way that honors and reinforces your values. If family is a top priority, your self-talk might sound like, I'm choosing to leave work on time today because my family is important to me. If personal growth is a key value, you might say to yourself, I'm proud of myself for stepping out of my comfort zone and trying something new. This alignment between your values and your self-talk creates a powerful sense of authenticity and purpose. It's like aligning the compass of your inner dialogue with your true north, ensuring that every step you take is in harmony with who you truly are and what matters most to you. When your self-talk is in sync with your values, you'll find that decision-making becomes easier. You'll have a clear internal guide to help you navigate life's complexities. Instead of being swayed by external pressures or fleeting desires, you'll be anchored by your core principles. For instance, if one of your key values is personal growth, your self-talk might encourage you to view challenges as opportunities for learning. When faced with a difficult task, instead of saying, this is too hard, I can't do it, you might find yourself thinking, this is a chance for me to expand my skills and become even better at what I do. Or if integrity is a core value for you, your self-talk might help you stay true to your principles, even when it's not convenient. In a situation where you're tempted to cut corners, your inner voice might remind you doing the right thing matters more than taking the easy way out. This value-aligned self-talk doesn't just influence your actions in the moment, it shapes your identity over time. The stories we tell ourselves about who we are and what we stand for become self-fulfilling prophecies. By consistently speaking to yourself in a way that reflects your values, you're reinforcing those values and making them an integral part of who you are. The way you speak to yourself doesn't just affect your own thoughts and actions. It influences how you interact with others. If your internal dialogue is harsh and critical, you're likely to be more judgmental of others. On the flip side, if you're compassionate and understanding with yourself, you'll find it easier to extend that same kindness to those around you. For the next 3 days, pay attention to how your self-talk affects your interactions. When you catch yourself in negative self-talk, notice how it impacts your mood and your treatment of others. Then, consciously shift to more positive, empowering self-talk and observe the difference in your relationships. Practice using your internal dialogue to prepare for important conversations or interactions. Before a meeting or a difficult discussion, give yourself a pep talk. Remind yourself of your strengths, your preparation, and your ability to handle whatever comes your way. This positive self-talk can boost your confidence and help you communicate more effectively. Remember, the relationship you have with yourself sets the tone for all your other relationships. By cultivating a positive, supportive internal dialogue, you're not just improving your own life, you're creating a ripple effect that can enhance all your interactions and connections. How self-talk can be a powerful tool in managing stress and building resilience. Life is full of challenges and unexpected setbacks. It's not the absence of stress that determines our well-being, but how we respond to it. And our self-talk plays a crucial role in shaping that response. When faced with a stressful situation, many of us default to catastrophic thinking. Our inner voice might say things like, this is a disaster, or I can't handle this. This kind of self-talk amplifies our stress response, making us feel overwhelmed and powerless. But what if we could use our self-talk to reframe these situations? What if instead of seeing stress as a threat, we could view it as a challenge to be overcome? This shift in perspective can transform our physiological and psychological response to stress. For the next 3 days, when you encounter a stressful situation, practice using your self-talk to reframe it. Instead of saying, I'm so stressed out, try, my body is gearing up to meet this challenge. Instead of, I can't handle this, say, this is difficult, but I've overcome tough situations before and I can do it again. This doesn't mean denying the reality of the situation or pretending that everything is fine when it's not. It's about acknowledging the challenge while also affirming your ability to cope with it. It's about seeing stress not as something that happens to you, but as something you can actively engage with and manage. Moreover, use your self-talk to remind yourself of past successes in overcoming difficulties. Your inner voice can be a powerful ally in building resilience. When faced with a new challenge, let it remind you, I've dealt with tough situations before. I have the skills and resources to handle this too. This resilience-building self-talk creates a positive feedback loop. Each time you use it to navigate a stressful situation successfully, you're reinforcing your belief in your own capabilities. You're training your brain to approach future challenges with confidence rather than fear. Many of us set goals with enthusiasm, only to find our motivation flagging when the initial excitement wears off or when we face obstacles. This is where strategic self-talk can make all the difference. First, use your self-talk to set clear, specific goals. Instead of vague statements like, "I want to get in shape," tell yourself, "I'm committed to exercising for 30 minutes 5 days a week." This specificity gives your brain a clear target to aim for. Then, use your internal dialogue to break these goals down into manageable steps. When faced with a big goal, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Your self-talk can help you focus on the next actionable step. Instead of thinking, "This goal is too big, I'll never achieve it," say to yourself, "What's the one thing I can do today to move closer to my goal?" As you work towards your goals, use your self-talk to maintain motivation. Remind yourself why this goal matters to you. Connect it to your values and your vision for your life. When you face setbacks, and you will, because that's part of any worthwhile pursuit, use your internal dialogue to reframe them as learning opportunities rather than failures. Celebrate your progress along the way. Too often, we focus solely on the end goal and overlook the small victories along the path. Use your self-talk to acknowledge and appreciate these milestones. Tell yourself, "I'm proud of the progress I'm making," or "Each step forward is bringing me closer to my goal." This goal-oriented self-talk isn't just about positive thinking. It's about strategic thinking. It's about using your internal dialogue as a tool to clarify your objectives, plan your actions, maintain your motivation, and learn from your experiences. Self-talk about your body and your health. In a world that often promotes unrealistic beauty standards and quick-fix health solutions, our internal dialogue about our physical selves can become particularly toxic. For many of us, thoughts about our bodies are riddled with criticism and dissatisfaction. We focus on perceived flaws, compare ourselves unfavorably to others, and speak to ourselves in ways we would never speak to a friend. This negative self-talk doesn't just affect our self-esteem, it can impact our health behaviors and overall well-being. For the next 3 days, I want you to pay close attention to how you talk to yourself about your body and your health. Notice any harsh or critical thoughts, then practice replacing them with more balanced, compassionate, and health-promoting self-talk. Instead of berating yourself for not fitting into a certain size of clothing, try saying, "My body carries me through each day, and I'm grateful for its strength and capabilities." Rather than beating yourself up for missing a workout, say, "I'm committed to my health, and I'll prioritize movement tomorrow." Use your self-talk to reinforce healthy habits. When you're tempted to skip a meal or reach for junk food, let your inner voice remind you, "I deserve to nourish my body with foods that make me feel good." When you're considering whether to exercise, tell yourself, "Moving my body isn't a punishment, it's a gift I give myself." Remember, the goal here isn't to achieve some externally imposed standard of perfection. It's to cultivate a relationship with your body based on respect, appreciation, and a genuine desire for health and well-being. This kind of body-positive, health-promoting self-talk can transform your relationship with your physical self. It can help you make choices based on self-care rather than self-criticism. And over time, it can lead to sustainable, positive changes in your health behaviors and overall well-being. How self-talk can be a powerful tool in managing your emotions. Emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our own emotions and those of others, is crucial for success in all areas of life. And your internal dialogue plays a key role in developing this skill. Often we try to suppress or ignore difficult emotions. We tell ourselves, "I shouldn't feel this way," or "I need to get over this." But this kind of self-talk only serves to invalidate our feelings and can actually intensify the emotional experience. Instead, for the next 3 days, practice using your self-talk to acknowledge and accept your emotions without judgment. When you're feeling angry, sad, or frustrated, try saying to yourself, it's okay to feel this way. This emotion is giving me information about my needs and values. This doesn't mean wallowing in negative emotions or letting them control your actions. It means creating a space where you can experience your feelings without being overwhelmed by them. Your self-talk can help you create this space. Once you've acknowledged the emotion, use your internal dialogue to explore it further. Ask yourself, what's triggering this feeling? What does this emotion tell me about what's important to me? This kind of curious, non-judgmental self-talk can help you gain valuable insights about yourself and your reactions. Then, use your self-talk to guide your response to the emotion. Instead of acting impulsively based on how you feel in the moment, you might say to yourself, I'm feeling angry right now, but I don't have to let this anger control my actions. I can choose to respond in a way that aligns with my values. This emotionally intelligent self-talk doesn't just help you manage difficult feelings. It can also help you amplify positive emotions. When you're feeling joy, excitement, or gratitude, use your internal dialogue to fully acknowledge and appreciate these feelings. Tell yourself, I'm going to savor this moment of happiness, or I'm grateful for this experience and what it means to me. You're not just managing your emotions, you're developing a deeper understanding of yourself. You're cultivating emotional intelligence that can enhance your decision-making, improve your relationships, and contribute to your overall well-being. How can you maintain these new habits beyond the initial 3-day challenge? Changing long-standing thought patterns takes time and consistent effort. It's not about achieving perfection. It's about making gradual, sustainable shifts in how you communicate with yourself. One powerful strategy is to create self-talk cues or mantras that you can return to throughout your day. These might be short phrases that encapsulate key principles we've discussed. For example, I choose my thoughts, or every challenge is an opportunity for growth, or I'm becoming the person I want to be. Place these mantras where you'll see them regularly, on your bathroom mirror, as your phone wallpaper, or on sticky notes around your workspace. Use them as reminders to check in with your self-talk and realign it if necessary. Remember, transforming your self-talk is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with practice. There will be days when negative self-talk creeps back in. That's okay. The key is to notice it without judgment and gently guide yourself back to more empowering internal dialogue. Consider keeping a self-talk journal. At the end of each day, reflect on the predominant themes in your internal dialogue. What patterns do you notice? How did your self-talk influence your actions and experiences throughout the day? This practice of self-reflection can help you become more aware of your thought patterns and more intentional about shaping them. Lastly, remember that while this journey of transforming your self-talk begins with you, you don't have to do it alone. Share your goals with trusted friends or family members. Consider working with a coach or therapist who can provide guidance and support. Surround yourself with people who reinforce your efforts to cultivate positive, empowering self-talk. I want you to realize that by embarking on this 3-day challenge to transform your self-talk, you're not just changing a habit, you're changing your life. You're rewiring your brain, reshaping your perceptions, and redefining what's possible for you. The voice in your head is the narrator of your life story. By choosing to make that voice kinder, more encouraging, and more aligned with your values and goals, you're choosing to write a new story for yourself. A story of growth, resilience, and unlimited potential. So I challenge you, for the next 3 days, talk to yourself like this. Speak to yourself with kindness, encouragement, unwavering belief in your capabilities. Question your limiting beliefs. Reframe your challenges as opportunities. Align your internal dialogue with your values and aspirations. And then, when those 3 days are over, keep going. Because this isn't just about a short-term challenge. It's about a lifelong journey of self-discovery and personal growth. It's about becoming the author of your own life, one thought at a time. Remember, the most important conversations you'll ever have are the ones you have with yourself. Make them count. Your future self will thank you for it.